Hello my dear people, it is me, Jason from Custom Cans, and today a little bit of an update on the HD25 aluminium parts. We're now selling the parts separately. We are able to offer laser engraving on them, and we've updated the design ever so slightly after a little bit of feedback on the initial ones that went out. So I'm going to go through how you would install the parts if you were to buy them, what updates we've made. If you've already bought a set of aluminium parts off us and need the updated parts, just let us know and we'll send those out to you. So to do this, you will need a T6 screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, largish flathead screwdriver, or a coin is probably better. We use the handle of a scalpel that's got a nice curve on it. Essentially the screws that are in the HD25s take a curved thing, and it's designed so that you can do it up with a coin while you're in the club, which is a brilliant idea. But it does mean that flathead screwdrivers don't quite fit properly. So we're going to take an original pair of HD25s and swap the parts over, so it should be pretty straightforward. So to remove so first of all I'll remove the cable, and for that you're going to need your T6 screwdriver. Just undo that there. And obviously keep your parts safe, you don't want to lose those, need those again in a minute. Then unplug the cable from the ear cup, and you can remove the ear cup from the headband, and then just rinse and repeat on the other side. So just remove the cable, remove the ear cup. Next we're going to remove the pads, and to do that stick your finger in underneath and lift it up, and that will just come away like that. Again, you've got a little dust filter in there, don't lose that. Next we're going to remove the driver. Now there's a couple of schools of thought on this. You can press on this, which causes this to pop out a little bit, and then run it around with a flathead screwdriver. That is your second option. First option, if you've got a thin-ish flathead screwdriver, I would try and jam it down the edge and lever that up so it goes pop. And then once you've got the edge of your screwdriver in there, just bring that round until it goes pop a couple of times, undoing the clips, and then that will come out safely. That is your safest and best option. Now it may be that your flathead screwdriver is too fat, it may be that you don't have the dexterity. It's not the easiest job to do. I'm not being patronising, I know we've had staff here that just could not do that. So your other option is, again, remove the pads, press on this centre square here, and that will go pop. And then once you've got an edge up, don't press any further, put your flathead screwdriver in, and again we'll do the same thing, do it around like that. Now if you do it that way, you'll notice that the grill pops out ever so slightly, and you should be able to pop that back in, and that should all be fine. So you've got these little felt discs, stick those with the driver. If you do go for the mass loading and damping kit on this, you can take those felt discs out. There's a separate video, I'll stick a link in the description on how to fit the mass loading and damping kit. Yeah, so that's it, it's pretty straightforward. Now the only thing you've got to watch out for is obviously you've got a hole in the top here, which is where your cable hole goes on there, so make sure they match up, and then press firmly into place. That will squoze down, and we'll do the same with this one. Squeeze. And while we're here, we'll put the pads back on. Again, a couple of different ways of doing it, but this is the way that we do it here. We'd hook the edge of the pad. Oh my god, did you see what I just did? I didn't line up those two holes that I just told you to. With our ear cups, you can just press on the centre, it won't ruin anything if you've got to remove those. Oh, idiot. Right, cool. See, even someone that knows what they're doing can do it wrong. So, put your little disc of what's it on there, hook the edge of the pad over. You see how I put it hooked over there? Then finger inside and just kind of hook it over. Okay, so that's one done. Let's do the other one. Yes, this is quite cool with the laser engraving. So if you've got a DJ logo or something like that, we can engrave it on there. We can raster engrave, which means we can do kind of half tones. It's only going to be white on whatever colour background it is, but we can do sort of half tones of white. We haven't tried it, but we should be able to do half tones of white, so photographs, logos with a bit of gradient in them we should be able to do on there, which is quite cool. Good customization option. Next we're going to do the hinges, and as I said, using a rounded, let's just put those to one side, using a rounded end thing in there will work better than a flathead screwdriver. So a coin, in this country probably a 2p or 10p, it's a nice size. We're using the end of a scalpel, which happens to be exactly the right size, but obviously not everyone's got scalpels knocking around. If you're a surgeon, obviously, yeah, go for the scalpel. So undo the screw, remove the washer, remove the hinge. Cool. Oh, the arm's fallen off. So these are your new parts, and things to look out for. You've got a little protuberance there, which needs to go into a hole on this bit here to get it all locked into place. And you'll also notice at the top of this part where the washer goes on is not round. It is a slight rectangle, and when we put it back together, you're going to need to make sure the washer goes on and it is locked into place so it can't move, and that will stop them from unscrewing themselves, because that is a nightmare. Right, so that's all locked in. Now then, the update that we've done is we've provided different washers. Originally we were using the original washers, and you can tighten those down to a point at which this moves nicely, but some people wanted to tighten them down further to kind of lock the arm a bit more, and we didn't take that into consideration when we were designing it. I will admit it was my fault, and some people were trying to tighten it, and obviously the threaded hole doesn't go any lower, and just snapping the screw. So what we've done is we've produced replacement washers for it. This is what they actually had on the original aluminium, so Sennheiser possibly had the same issue. Different washers that go on there that give sort of an extra 0.5 millimeter of tightening. It's just enough to make these go extra tight. So pop the washer on again, as I said, turn it around, make sure it's all locked into place, and then we're going to want to put the screws in. Another thing that you might find, I think they're all the ones that we've done here are okay, but we had somebody that had a bit of build up from where they've done the coating on these stuck in the thread, which caused it to be a bit tight for doing up the screws. Obviously when you're screwing it in, careful you're not cross threading it. So when you first put it in, you could back it off until it goes click and feel it fall into a thread. There you go, did you hear that? It just clicked into a thread, and then do it up, and then you know you're not cross threading it if you're not sure. But with these new washers you should now be able to do that up so it's nice and tight, and you shouldn't get any problems with shmoo in there. But if, as you're screwing it up, as it gets to the bottom, if it gets a little bit difficult to turn, I would just back it off, screw it back down, back it off, screw it back down a couple of times, which will just clear the threads out, and that'll go in. But all the ones that we've done here have been okay, but there is the odd rogue one. Well, we've had one person that had that issue. I don't know whether it's just one rogue one or what, but yeah, it's worth checking that. But yeah, just back off the screw, screw it again, and that'll just clear out any shmoo that's in the threads. It should be all right. Yeah, so that's that one done. Let's just do the same on the other hinge. To undo that screw. Pop that in. Yeah, so again I've twisted it so it's locked in, the little pin's going in the hole. Turn this so that it's lined up. Pop the screw back in. Yeah, see, these ones are screwed up nicely, there's no issues. Yeah, it might just be these washers, you might have just been, like I said, we hadn't tapped the thread all the way down, you might have just been trying to tighten it just a bit too much. But with these new washers you can get it really tight, tighter than they are from the factory. Next, we'll put it all back together. So you've got one side that sticks and one side that swivels. The side that doesn't swivel is the cable side. So the side that had the cable clamp goes back on there. So with the cable clamps in two halves, you've got half with a square in the bottom, and you've got half with the recesses for the screws. The one with the square in the bottom, push it in and then make sure that it's locked in, it doesn't move around. It's got a little square in the bottom that will lock into the thing. Hold that in place, pop your top half on with the screws in, Use your T6 screwdriver to do it up. And again, be careful, don't over tighten these because you'll strip out the threads, and then there are fixes for that, but it's easier just to get it right. So just turn these, but don't over tighten them. You just want them tightened down just so that the cable can't move, and then that's good enough. Finally, the last side, the nice easy one, slide that on. Cable in. With both these cables, the original cables have got an L and an R, and that should be facing on the outside. So we'll put that in there. And there you go. Now you have some HD25s with aluminium ear cups. And may I say how smashing they look, at least 20% cooler. So these will be available, the parts will be available on our website. I'll stick a link in the description to where you can buy them. If you want laser engraving, we can arrange that. I think it's an extra £25 for that, just because got to set it all up on the system. It takes a little while. If you're buying multiple pairs of these with laser engraving, we can do you a discount, because once we've got it set up on the system, it's just a case of wanging them in the laser cutter and waiting half an hour for them to laser. But there is sort of half an hour's work involved in laying it out, and our time costs us £40 an hour, so £25 will make a small profit if you get them laser engraved. As I said, if you've already bought a set of these, the aluminium HD25s, or just the parts, and would like these new washers that make your hinges tighter, just pop us an email. We'll send you out a set of those. We've made enough to cover everything that we've produced. So there you go. That's how it's done. It's pretty straightforward, and turns your standard HD25s into slightly cooler HD25s, and also they'll sound slightly better. You get a little bit better sort of detail in the bass. It's a little bit less boomy in the low end than the stock ones, just because you've got the extra weight pressing right on the back where the driver is. So if you want to see what else we're working on, get updates, that kind of thing, obviously like and subscribe. Or if you just enjoyed this, give me a like and subscribe. It cheers me up. No, that's what I'm in this for. We make something like £40 a month off our YouTube channel, so it doesn't even cover like the coffees we drink while making these videos. So yeah, so give us a like and subscribe, and that'll cheer us up. Lovely work. Jason out.